Hello YouTube and Patreon, this is Nathan P. Butler, and this is our project update for the month of December 2020. It's a little bit earlier in the month as I'm recording this. I'm recording it on, I guess, the 19th of December. It's not been a super productive month in terms of stuff that you would see. Pretty productive behind the scenes when I've had time, so we'll talk about that in a moment. But first, let me thank all of you who are backers over there on my Patreon. That is patreon.com/NathanPButler. Super easy to remember. At this point, of course, we have 3 tiers on the Patreon, right? We have the $1 tier, the Travelers Through the Butler Universe, who get themselves a thanks in these episodes, in the credits and all. And then also get a chance to get a thanks on that Patreon credits page, or Patreon thanks page, over in the second edition of A Saga on Home Video, when that is published sometime, hopefully first half of next year. Obviously, whether or not that is still going to exist the way that it does, where people are able to get credits in the book, are going to depend on if there's ever a third edition after that point, because obviously once the book is published, that's all for adding to that edition of the book. We then have the Denizens of the Butler Universe, who get that, plus they get access to the audio commentaries that I put up, typically 2 per month. Right now running through the Clone Wars on the 15th and the 1st of each month. Why I said 15th and then 1st instead of 1st and then 15th, I don't know. It's that kind of day. You may hear my son screaming in the background at some point, but this was basically I record now while he's screaming and somebody else is trying to deal with it, or I just don't record kind of day. Let's see. Then on top of that, of course, we have our Nobility of the Butler Universe. It's a $10 tier. Those are the folks who also get access to those exclusive Q&A videos every single month, where they ask their questions in a collection thread. I gather up the questions, answer them in that monthly exclusive video, which is, of course, posted to the Patreon page. So without further ado, my thanks to the Travelers Through the Butler Universe. This is Travis Cook, Caleb Owens, Justin Richard, Preston Ellis, Jeremy Goss, Ben Abrams, Michael Torson, Jacob Kapoor, Tony Jenkins, Kevin Kreiner, Austin Pierce, and Chris Walker. Then we have the Denizens of the Butler Universe, Craig Clayton, Dave Broadway, Matt DeRochers, Joseph Blankenship, Daniel Marchant, Travis Taylor, Andrew Gilbertson, Walker Langstrat, Kyle Pellegrini, Nathan W. Mortimer, Jeff Ellis, Joey Zitzman, Stephen Malicia, Robert Medina, Bobby Craig, Jeremiah Mustard, and Jason Hunt. And then finally, the Nobility of the Butler Universe, which right now stands at 10 people. We have Connor Steyerman, Jeff Rabjohns, Matthew Hardesty, Ennis, Jonathan Confer, Sam Howard, David Ray, Brian Snook, Andrew Bettis, and Benjamin Handelman. I look forward to the questions every month from these guys, because it's always kind of a fun thing to record those Q&A videos. So like I said, it has not been a productive month all that much in terms of stuff that you would see. There's sort of the normal stuff coming out through Patreon, plus a couple of little extra goodies showing up there. Just a little bit on YouTube, and most of it has been instead work on the book. Like I said, I'm trying to make sure A Saga on Home Video 2nd edition hits by hopefully the midpoint of 2021, but as always, we will see. So what's come out since the last update video? Well, on Thanksgiving Day, we had the special Forces of Destiny Volume 3 audio commentary on Patreon. That's for the Denizens and Nobility tiers over there. I had done the ones for Volume 1 and Volume 2 years ago, and finally got around to getting the recordings done for Volume 3 and 4. If you're not familiar with those, basically, Forces of Destiny had 2 seasons of 16 episodes. And for each season, they took those 16 short little episodes and combined 8 of them at a time into a half-hour special, minus commercials, of course, with a framing story with Maz Kanata taking everybody through those stories. The framing stories usually sucked, except in the last one, but I finally got a chance to record the commentaries for Volume 3 and 4 to put up on Patreon. So on November 26th, right, Thanksgiving Day, we had Forces of Destiny Volume 3 finally getting a commentary. You will see, if you are a Denizen or Nobility over there, that the Volume 4 commentary will be released on Christmas Day. It's already done, it's loaded, it's ready to go. Then, of course, on December 1st, we had the Clone Wars commentary for Kidnapped. This, of course, kicking off the storyline that was basically the Slaves of the Republic comics that then got adapted into the show as episodes, which was an unusual situation there. Of course, that being the infamous exploitation of Ahsoka artwork type of arc with the whole electrical tape looking thing. Plenty of ranting about that in the episode. But of course, that was back on December 1st, so the next of those showed up on December 15th, which was Slaves of the Republic, the episode that is based, in its title at least, on the arc that the entire arc is based on. And back on December 5th, we had the exclusive Q&A, number 36, for the Nobility of the Butler Universe. That one kind of had some interesting questions in it, among other things, kind of looking at my thoughts on the Star Wars Holiday Special, the Lego Star Wars Holiday Special, the new one, my thoughts on Mandalorian up to that point. The next one, somebody has already asked my thoughts on the Mandalorian finale, so that will absolutely be in the next Q&A episode. And then that one also had an interesting one where it was sort of a what type of movies or anything get you verklempt, essentially, causes you to cry or come close to it. So addressing that was kind of interesting. I got a feeling there may be some tears about to be shed or very close to shed in the next one, because I believe it was Jonathan Comfer who asked a question about what would you tell your 2016 self if you could from 2020. And given, my son being born and one of my best friends committing suicide, I have a feeling that's going to be an interesting answer when we kind of come to it. But I look forward to those oddball questions on the Q&As. They're interesting, and I always know, that with that particular group, I can sort of share a bit more, it seems like, and be a little bit more informal in the answers. So we, of course, are also going to have more commentaries up in the next month or so. I've basically been able to sit down and do some recording ahead of time, finally, again. So as of right now, again, Forces of Destiny Volume 4 commentary will drop on Christmas Day. Then January 1st, we'll wrap up the Slaves of the Republic arc from Clone Wars with Escape from Kadavo. For what it's worth, by the way, as of right now, as of Escape from Kadavo, if I'm remembering correctly, that will be the 80th commentary just for Clone Wars that is on the Patreon. And if you jump on to Patreon, you're able to get access to whatever that tier has ever had access to. So basically, you could jump in at Denizen or Nobility tier and get 80 Clone Wars commentaries as of January 1st, and the 4 Forces of Destiny commentaries, jumping in there for like a month for $5 and just download it all. If you want to jump into Nobility, you got 36 different Q&A episodes that you could go back and watch. Granted, you weren't the one asking the questions, but it's a lot of stuff that you could go back and watch. All right. That said, let's see. We continue the commentaries on January 15th. That is A Friend in Need. I was able to basically get that recorded and all the ones for the Obi-Wan Undercover arc, the next 4, recorded in one night when Cade was thankfully asleep. So we have A Friend in Need on January 15th, and then going forward, starting on February 1st, we'll have the first 2 episodes of the Obi-Wan Undercover arc, starting with Deception in February, then the next 2 that wrap up that arc in March, and then April and May. That means the April and May commentaries are going to be the end of Season 4, which means the return of Darth Maul. The episodes that were actually built into a feature-length cut that kind of sucked in the way it was edited, but a feature-length cut called Darth Maul Returns. We will be dealing with them as individual episodes, as always. So, cool stuff coming from the Patreon, and a couple of bonus commentaries along with the regular stuff, either just released or about to be released. As far as YouTube, not so much this time around. I recorded a ton of stuff, and I still have a bunch of stuff that still needs to be edited. I have just not had the time. And when I say I've not had the time, I think I've been distracted. Work has been kicking my butt. Right? We finally just ended the semester yesterday as of the time I'm recording this. The students finished up on Thursday. Friday was when we got all the mechanical stuff behind the scenes done. And it's just been heavy. We've been developing an entire course, a new sociology course that I get to teach on a platform I've never used before. So I get a crash course on that in January. And I wound up taking over 45 students from a teacher who unexpectedly had to be out on leave. So by the end of the semester, my total student load for this semester was 253. It's just been heavy. It's been heavy, as Marty McFly would say. And on top of that, my time to actually get anything done is relatively, lessened, because usually I have 1 day a week to do it, which is on a weekend. One day she's with her dad doing stuff. The other day he comes here. We all eat lunch together, and then while he and my wife are watching Cade, I get a chance to record stuff. Well, it's getting darker earlier, so he's tending to leave a little bit earlier. And my wife has been having to work weekends like crazy lately. Even when it's not her weekend to work, she's been being asked, well, can you come in for 4 hours? And by 4, we actually mean 6 or 7. Constantly, because she works at a hospital. And granted, she's not on the front lines dealing with patients, but in that, the COVID cases in the hospital kind of through the roof. Multiple people in her department down with COVID. Several just saying screw it and quitting. So their staff level is down, so she's been working a lot more on the weekend, which means that it's not just, let's eat lunch and then I get to record. It's, we got to wait for her to get home, then this, then this, then this, then this, and then I can squeeze in some recording or something else. So what I've been trying to do primarily, instead of editing, is to take pictures for the book and get that done so I can feel like I'm making more progress on that, have that more aiming towards the first half of next year. But the few times I get a chance to like do something while Cade's asleep and she's in the shower or something, just jump on and do something, it's actually more been PS5 lately, or reading while I go to sleep. Reading the newest Sanderson Stormlight archive book, working my way through that, and then slowly working my way through getting my ass kicked repeatedly on Demon Souls on PS5. We lucked out. I tried to pre-order a PS5 over and over and over again. Zero luck with that. Of course, I was one of the many who would get to the checkout phase of the Walmart pre-order, and then everything's timed out. All of a sudden, oh, it finally went through. Oh, but we're sold out. We're so sorry. But my wife has, much as she kicks butt at work, although it sucks because it means she's so reliable they keep having her come in. But she wound up being nominated for an award, and everybody who was nominated at this ceremony thing that they had, this relatively small ceremony thing that they had from safety precaution standpoint, got entered into a drawing. And she won an Xbox Series X. But I'm more of a PlayStation guy, and so is she. Well, she's more of a PlayStation woman, right? I'm more into PlayStation, so is she, rather than Xbox. But a coworker of hers, who's a big Xbox guy, won a PS5 disc edition. So they swapped as soon as they picked them up. So I've been able to jump into Demon Souls a little bit. Haven't really spent a lot of time with the new Spider-Man yet. Trying to get back into Warframe a bit, but I don't know, I'm finding Warframe, you move so smoothly that it makes me more nauseous than VR does. And VR almost never makes me nauseous anymore. So anyway, suffice to say, when I've had a chance to, usually when I would sit down and edit on my son's floor while he's asleep, while everything is calming down for the night, I've slipped away and been able to, relieve some stress by, I was about to say killing some monsters on Demon Souls. It's more like I relieve the stress by just getting killed by monsters in Demon Souls, I think is how it works. So still a lot of stuff that is recorded that is not edited yet, but now we are on the semester break, which is when I'm planning on getting all that stuff knocked out, getting tons of pictures that I've taken, edited, and put in the book. Unfortunately, there's just not a lot of extra free time to record during the break or to take pictures during the break because it requires someone to be watching my son instead of me for me to do that. And nobody else's schedule has changed just because I happen to be on break now. So anyway, with the videos on YouTube, there's really only been 4 since the last update. We had all screeners, basically, except for one. We had a screener for an ILM documentary that aired, it's a Stars production, aired on Encore that we saw a screener for. We saw a screener for Season 3 of the Clone Wars, and we saw a weird set of screener packages that included all the animation entries for the Primetime Emmys for 3 years in a row, which included some Clone Wars stuff, some Family Guy Star Wars stuff, some Robot Chicken Star Wars stuff, even a Star Wars Gangster Rap item. Then we had sort of an emergency episode that I just recorded and slipped into the mix, which was for this. This is the solo reissue that came out recently, and I wanted to show you something real quick. When I got the episode, or when I got the chance to record the episode, I didn't have the code slip for it yet. I had bought it from someone who sold it to me used without the code slip. He had got it, used the code slip, and then immediately put it on eBay. So I bought a used copy, no code slip. Guy said, don't worry, I'll send the code slip with it. He forgot. Eventually I said, okay, well, can you send it to me through the mail? He sent me the code slip. So when I did the video, I just used the old code slip because the picture he showed me of the code slip that he was sending me was the old version of the code slip with the characters up at the top of the slip. I didn't even think about the fact that that couldn't possibly be the right code slip because it was still Disney Movie Rewards, not Insiders. So this, and yes, the code's been used. Well, the code's been used for the Disney Movie Reward points. If you want to redeem it for the movie, first come, first serve, I don't give a crap. Suffice to say, the new version is Disney Movie Insiders and has these up top. I didn't really focus on the code slip. I think I just kind of lifted it up and sat it back down on the table when I was doing the episode on it. But just know that your code slip is going to look like this, not like the old ones, for a real code slip for the new copy. So now I have like a used one, like an open one with a slip that doesn't match, because apparently the guy, I guess, sent me the wrong one. But then I was able to get this one from Matthew Fox, a fellow collector, sealed. So I was able to open it up, use it for pictures for the book, and show you what the code slip is supposed to look like there. And that emergency episode was the last of them to be released. That was back on December 5th. Okay. So not a whole lot of those. Again, a lot recorded, just not edited yet. Right now, I am tracking with the app on my phone as Parcel Force and then FedEx are delivering me a package sent by Julian Smith. Julian was kind enough to assist me with his, what do they call it? Red carpet membership, I think it's called, with Zavvi, to be able to jump in and make sure to get a copy ordered for me for all of the Steelbook releases that they put out recently. As you know, he helped me get Empire and Jedi after I'd already had trouble, but finally managed to pre-order A New Hope and then had to replace it through Brian Snook because it was lost in the mail. But all the other ones, right, the other 8 films, have finally come into Julian. He has dropped them off at Parcel Force, which will hand it off to FedEx, which will hand it off to me eventually, to be able to do that episode. And if it turns out that I get the stuff to record that episode before all those other ones are edited, I'll do like I did with this, and I'll record that episode as soon as I am able and push that out there, even if it makes the order seem a little bit odd, because I want to make sure to get that to you as soon as I can. Beyond that, the book is the main thing, of course, and, still going. I have a list of pictures I need to take or retake that I'm slowly working my way through. I have a list, there's the picture one. I have a list of topics I want to add, or things I want to make sure to mention, or things to look for, like things to get measurements for and stuff like that. Like, did you know that the Skywalker Saga big boxed sets that were recently released, the 4K/Blu-ray boxed sets, in the US it's 2 inches thick, in the UK it's 2 1/8 inches thick, and in Japan it's 3 3/16 inches thick? I don't know why I find that kind of stuff fascinating, but the fact that they're not actually the exact same packages was something I wanted to mention, so I've got some measuring to do for stuff like that, and art cards and that sort of thing. But you may recall that gigantic binder with the, 700 pages almost of the book printed out. This is where it stands right now in terms of the number of pages left with something to do, which is either me noting, hey, cover a topic here, or just me replacing a picture. I took about 300 pictures last weekend, which amounts to probably between 75 and 100 different products worth of pictures, many of which were replaced ones that either had glare or just I hadn't replaced the black and white ones yet. I'm down to about 140 or so of those that still need to be edited, cropped, sorted through, and put into the book, at least the ones that will be used. And my plan is, as soon as I'm done recording this, to get as many other things recorded, or as many other things pictures taken as I possibly can, because I pulled a ton of them yesterday and just sat them on a shelf. So now it's a matter of kind of trying to get through those. And for the most part, this is the stuff that's been in a binder. So it's stuff like the decals that you could have gotten through Disney Movie Rewards for Rogue One, or it's the unopened packaging for the red Millennium Falcon model that you could have gotten through Target Red Card, that kind of stuff. And a few shots of more physical products. But these are images I've been waiting to take for a while because I had to dig into my closet and get out the binder and pull a bunch of the flat stuff out. So I'm looking forward to finally getting some more of that done. So the book is still rolling along. I want to say it's just broken or about to break the 700 page mark. And I want to say the last page, or the last picture count that I did was something like 940. Yeah, it's going to be enormous. And lots of pretty pictures to look at. But that means more time spent writing, which I can do while Kate is awake or somebody else isn't watching him, because he can be in the room with me while I am writing, over the break. And then, more times to be able to take the pictures that I need to put them in there. Thankfully, I can also edit and insert the pictures without somebody else having to be able to watch him. So as long as I can get some more pictures taken today, I can do some editing of videos, writing on the book, editing of pictures and stuff, and actually make this a relatively productive break before we jump back into second semester on January 4th and I start getting my butt kicked by work again. So we shall see. But with that, we'll wrap up this update. Thank you for your indulgence for a busy month, but not a whole lot of output. I assure you things are happening behind the scenes that should keep things rolling along with new content, whether it's the book or otherwise, just coming at a little slower pace because it's a lot of front loading that then needs to be edited before it's actually out to you guys. As always, thank you all for watching. In this case, because of the time of year, Merry Christmas and Happy other holidays. And to those who celebrate otherwise, Happy New Year, because I won't speak to you again probably before that. And stay safe out there, as always.